property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And by Yum. Daily school lunch menus are available to browse on the Yum website. Just visit yumkman.ky for more info.
And now, Radio K-Man presents The Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local environment. This is where we address the topics that matter. Here's your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning, everybody. Wishing everyone in Cayman a blessed and productive Tuesday and week for all. It's the beginning of a new month, April 1st, or April Fool's Day for many. It's a day of pranks and jokes. And if you have any that you want to share with me, please do give us a call this morning and let us know a couple of jokes. Help us laugh this morning. We do have open line for the first 30 minutes of the show today. I am your host, Kathy Miller. And I'm happy to say that this is my 1-year anniversary in hosting The Buzz. So happy anniversary to me and to our listeners and to producer Susan. I didn't get secretly married, so when I say happy anniversary, it's not about that. It's about doing this show for a month, although you know, at least I'm still taking proposals, so we never know what's going to happen in this next year. But this is also not an April Fool's joke. But happy anniversary to me hosting The Buzz and doing this for an entire year. So I've been really enjoying it. It began on the very first Tuesday in April in 2024, and it's been a pretty amazing past year for me. There's been a lot of growth, lots of learning, lots of connections, and amazing conversations. And if you ever messaged me, called, sent us WhatsApp texts, sent Susan some texts, thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate all of our listeners, all of our guests, our sponsors, and thank you to management for believing that I would make it here for 7 a.m.-ish, as I'm not not a morning person. I thought that was a joke. I was like, are you guys sure? You really think I'm going to make it? And they were like, yeah, you can do this. And they were right. So thank you to everybody for hanging out with us on a Tuesday and Thursday morning on what was the Business Buzz and is now The Buzz. We will endeavor to keep bringing you some great conversations, new perspectives, deeper understanding, hopefully some laughs, and a great start to your day. So the first 30 minutes of today's show, we're going to have open line. I was supposed to have Candidates Corner with some PPM candidates, and we got some last minute cancellations last night. So instead, I got to talk about a few other things with you and welcome your phone calls and thoughts this morning. In the second segment of the show, I'll be talking with Doctors Hospital, a few of their doctors, and we will be discussing colon cancer. It's a topic that's a little bit personal to me, as that does run in my family, and March was Colon Cancer Awareness Month. But I'm only just able to get them on now in April to discuss the topic because we've been busy. We've been booked and busy. So that discussion will be after the 8 a.m. news. And for now, you can call, share your thoughts, talk with me. You know, they say sometimes, at least for Talk Today, you can call and say your complaints, but I don't really want to start the morning off on complaining. But nevertheless, if you got something you need to get off your chest, you can do so this morning with me on The Buzz. The numbers to call are 1-800-534-8255, 949-8990, 949-6037, or you can WhatsApp, call, or text me at 925-3261. Now, to pivot just a little bit, if you didn't know, and really you had to have been hiding under the rock kind of thing, TV is back in Cayman. Now, while we do have a few stations that do showcase some local comment, we now have a dedicated TV station again, or TV channel again. So while we do have CIG TV, Logic, Cayman Life TV, This is Cayman, many of us miss Cayman 27 and what that station brought. So I want to congratulate Compass TV for their launch yesterday, as they brought back Daybreak and the evening news. They'll have the Link Up podcast featured on the station. So shout out to Victor Crumbly and your co-hosts on the Added Media platform. Congratulations to you guys. And the Compass TV will also have a political show weekly, hosted by Darley Solomon, I believe, and some other segments. So congrats again to them for bringing back TV, kind of back at least, to the Cayman Islands. And, we're a big media platform, so it's not beyond us to congratulate other media for their growth and hopeful continued success. My favorite part of what's going on right now, at least at Radio Cayman, is the debates. We all know that it's election season, and Radio Cayman has been holding debates since Monday, the 17th of March. And I want to know if you tuned in to Radio Cayman's debates last night. It got a little spicy in the East End debate. 4 candidates did not come to the debates last night. However, representing East End was incumbent and independent candidate Mr. Isaac Rankin and independent candidate Mr. Roy Del Carter. Now, there was a lot of, well, you aren't informed, or obviously you don't know. There was a lot of tit for tat, stuff like that was going on during the debates last night. And that's exactly what a debate is about. And as OC said, ooh, that might have been the best rebuttals that we had going on, and I'd have to agree. I want to say that Mr. McKeeva Bush and Miss Julie Hunter kind of started that off pretty good, and it's interesting to see how the debates have evolved. I want to say with West Bay North it was a little bit more polite. People were a little bit more polite with each other, and then we had Georgetown East, and there was a little bit back and forth, but not necessarily a lot of challenging of views. We did get that with Mr. Bush and Miss Hunter for West Bay West. And for East End, I'm going to say that Mr. Rankin and Mr. Carter, they really turned up the heat last night. So, as I said, that's exactly what a debate is about. Being able to challenge viewpoints and defending viewpoints are at the core of democracy, allowing candidates to clarify their policies, to hold each other accountable, and to demonstrate their ability to lead. Debates provide voters with a direct comparison of leadership styles, solutions to pressing issues, and how well candidates can handle pressure. Ultimately, they help the public make informed decisions about who is best suited to represent them. And if you've ever gone to a parliamentary session in person, or if you've ever listened online or via Radio Cayman's broadcasts, when we do rebroadcast them in the evenings, then you would know that they're not the most polite arenas of conversation. So all the time in the House, you will feel some contention. You will feel those heated discussions and arguments going back and forth. And debates show how we can defend our viewpoints, how we can present bills, how they can be challenged. Debates, at least in our studio, give you a bit of a taste of what it's really going to be like in the House. So I appreciate the candidates that were able to come out last night, and again, I'm gonna tell you that you can go to our Radio Cayman YouTube page if you want to check out those debates and hear what the candidates were saying. Just search Radio Cayman on YouTube, and you will find our debates. Go under the live tab, and we should be popping up. So, following the East End debate, there was a one-on-one interview with incumbent and independent candidate for Northside, and that is Mr. J. Ebanks. The other candidate for Northside was not able to come, and Mr. Ebanks took the opportunity to speak with OC on what he has been able to accomplish during his time as minister, and if re-elected, how he plans to continue with the work he has put in for Northside and the country so far. It was actually a really nice interview. I had one ear kind of popped open and listening, and the other ear doing some work while I was here in studio. And I would encourage people to go and listen to what Mr. Ebanks has been able to accomplish in the past 4 years. And he's had a lot. He has a lot under his portfolio as a minister. And more was added in his portfolio. I believe it was later in 2004 when there was another cabinet reshuffling happening. So I encourage everyone to go watch last night's debate on Radio Cayman's YouTube channel. Watch all of them, and also tune into the Chamber of Commerce's forums, which are being held almost nightly. They must be really tired, because I know I'm tired from doing this twice a week, Monday and Wednesday nights on Radio Cayman. And if you don't catch these events live, not a problem. You can always go back and watch at a time convenient for you. If you don't know your candidates and what they stand for, and what they have done if incumbents, and what ideas they have, where they stand on policies or national issues affecting all of us, you can always watch the forums and our debates to get a better understanding of who your candidates are and be better informed for you when you go to the polls on April 30th. And candidates, a message to the candidates that might not be showing up to the forums or debates or interviews. If we don't know you, you should take every advantage of every opportunity media presents to talk. Not attending forums or debates, it's not a good look. I don't know who's advising you otherwise, and they're wrong. I'm just going to say it, they are wrong. Because if you don't show up to represent your ideas and your viewpoints, why should voters show up to vote for you? Just a thought. So to get into some other more recent news going on, our debates are pretty recent because that was last night. It was the last one that we held was for East End, and then we had an interview with incumbent for Northside, Mr. J. Ebanks. But to get into some other news going on in Cayman, at Camana Bay, it is Wellness Month. I believe, wellness should be practiced every day for all of us. But they have a focused Wellness Month at Camana Bay. And in April, they're celebrating their second annual Wellness Month. It's in partnership with Health City. There's over 15 Camana Bay tenants that will showcase their health and wellness offerings and offer exclusive discounts throughout the month. From a step competition for tenants and the people working at Camana Bay to fitness and cooking classes, there's activities for children. And I think one of the best offers that I've seen that I really liked was free oral cancer screenings from Cayman Dental. So there's a lot going on during Wellness Month at Camana Bay for all ages. And it's all about making small, little sustainable steps in your lifestyle towards better health and improved fitness. And I think we could all use a little bit of that, right? Well, Cayman's a pretty active country, but nothing should stop us from getting a little bit more active and concerned about our health and well-being. To turn to a little bit of news about agriculture, the Ministry of Planning, Agriculture, Housing, Infrastructure, Transport and Development has launched their pilot Cayman Islands Agricultural Land Use License Program. The information sent reads, quote, "The Cayman Islands Agriculture Land Use License Program is a pilot program designed to support registered farmers by providing access to government-owned agricultural land for commercial farming. This initiative aligns with the Cayman Islands Food and Nutrition Security Policy to enhance local food production, promote sustainable farming practices, and strengthen agricultural resilience. The application process follows a structured two-phase evaluation. Phase 1, eligibility assessment based on farming experience and registration status, and, if required, business viability evaluation through an agri-business strategy review. Through this program, the Cayman Islands government seeks to empower farmers, reduce reliance on food imports, and ensure the long-term sustainability of the agricultural sector." So, congrats to the Ministry of Planning, Agriculture, Housing, Infrastructure, Transport, and Development. I'm telling you, that's a big portfolio right there. For their Cayman Islands Agricultural Land Use License Program. I think it's a great initiative for farmers. And, we are trying to promote agriculture as much as we can in Cayman, because when we think about the food security issues that are going on, the tariff issues that are happening with the United States, where we get a large majority of our food imported from, being able to promote agriculture here and farming here and what we can produce in the Cayman Islands, it is so important to not only bringing a little bit of livelihood to farmers and supporting our local economy, but to bringing our cost of living down a bit. And when you know what you grow, the better it is for you. Because a lot of the time when you're getting food from other places, you don't always know their farming practices, the pesticides or chemicals or perhaps some other toxins that may be used in the production of that food. We're going to go to a commercial break, and right before we do go, I want to remind our callers, if you want to give me a call, you want to talk about anything this morning, please do so. Give me a call at 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, or sorry, 949-8990, 949-6037, and you can WhatsApp call or text us at 925-3261.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Clara Eden, Certificate of Honor, 1870 through 1969. Nurse Clara Eden was an extremely loyal and faithful midwife who traveled to all outer districts to deliver babies. She apparently had a record of the babies she delivered, along with the names of their parents in her first house, which burned down. At that time, she confirmed that she had delivered 1,500 babies, and when she retired, she estimated she had delivered 2,000. She took excellent care of both mother and baby for 9 days at the cost of £2. Nurse Clara was a faithful member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. She was the only person in Grand Cayman who knew how to do starbread handwork, and in her spare time, she taught a few people how to do it.
The Rotary Central Dr. Bill Rudy Science Fair, a family-friendly event, Saturday, April 5th, 8:30 a.m. through noon. The Arc Sports Centre, Camana Bay. The annual adventure unleashing the magic of science, the wonderment of limitless exploration. Over 50 science projects and experiments representing budding scientists from schools across the Cayman Islands. Sourcing energy, exploring the environment, oceanography, agronomy, rocket propulsion, medical technology, drone technology, water security, eco-solutions, math, chemistry, physics, biology, engineering, nanotechnology. The Rotary Central Science Fair 2025, Saturday, April 5, Camana Bay. Every child needs to see and feel the magic of science, the magic of Rotary.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center.
Specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Hey Cayman parents, we get it. You're underslept, over-trafficked. You can barely find your sanity in the morning because you're still trying to find your kids' shoes and lunch boxes. Let Yum take some of the stress away. Every day, over 3,000 students enjoy delicious, nutritious meals from Yum. Over 5 million lunches served and counting. Private school parents? Browse the Yum Cayman app and order up to a month in advance or last minute by 12 a.m. the night before. Government school students? Just drop by the Yum canteen. No pre-orders needed. Yum can't help you find your sanity, but we can sure make your mornings just a bit easier. Check out daily menus at myschoolpos.com or visit yumcayman.ky to learn more.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Radio Cayman, the forum of the people. Join me, Art Connor, on For the Record on Radio Cayman. We put the tough questions to government officials, independents, and opposition members of our parliament. And from time to time, we revisit our storied past. Tune in on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Reach out to us on 949-6990 or 1-800-534-8255. WhatsApp us 925-3261 or email talktooc@gmail.com. Your voice matters.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I am your host, Kathy Miller. We have some open line until just before 8 a.m. this morning. And you know, I get why I wasn't getting some phone calls. I do be giving out the wrong numbers from time to time. So you would think after a year in the game here and a little longer for filling in for Talk Today from time to time that I'll have the numbers down pat. And I do. Sometimes I just mix one number up in two different numbers, if that makes sense. So the numbers again, 1-800-534-8255. That's toll free with Flow. 949-6990 and 949-8037. Again, you can also WhatsApp call or text us at 925-3261. We only got a few minutes for open line this morning, at least, maybe about 8. If you want to talk to me, let me know what's going on, how the weekend went, what's going on in your constituencies, what are you seeing out there when it comes to election season, what you don't want to see, what you're sick of seeing, what you hope to see that you haven't seen, and just what you hope to see. What kind of changes do you want to see out there for your country? That's what I'd like to know. And for your constituencies, for sure. Yesterday, if you were listening to Radio Cayman, which I hope you were, and you heard our afternoon talk show, Talk Today, you will have heard a very familiar voice hosting the show. Mr. Charles Glidden, or better known as Chalo, has stepped in to host Talk Today for the interim and is hosting on Monday and Wednesday afternoons. It was super heartwarming to hear the calls and see the messages come in while he was hosting. People were very happy to hear him on air, and there was a familiarity, a comfort for listeners, and it just made me smile to hear how delighted the listeners were. It really did. It was such a nice, kind of a heartwarming welcome for him to have received on Radio Cayman yesterday. So catch Chalo Mondays and Wednesdays hosting Talk Today. That's from 12:15 until 2:30 p.m. From now until, well, hopefully until he's maybe offered a full-time position. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. So can I manifest and talk things into being? Well, we'll see. We also have OC that is continuing to host Talk Today on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Of course, he's got his For the Record show Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and he's hosting the debates at least once per week. So far, it's Monday nights. Sometimes it's twice a week. So we're kind of overworking OC a little bit. Sorry, OC. I know you're often tuned in, but thank you for all that you do as well. To give you a little bit of other government news that is going on, the Ministry of Education, I'm going to read you a couple press releases that have just gone out today, April 1st. The Ministry of Education is pleased to announce that applications are now open for the Early Childhood Assistance Program, ECAP, funding for the 2025-2026 academic year. ECAP provides financial assistance of up to $812 per month towards tuition fees at approved early childhood centers. That's really good. $812 per month is really, really good, or up to $812 per month is excellent. And I know there are so many families out there, single parents, that need this assistance. So I like this program. Now, to be eligible, children must be Caymanian and turn 3 years old before September 1st, 2025. Parents or guardians must also meet financial means testing requirements. This year, the program's expected financial threshold allows more families to benefit from the funding, making early childhood education more accessible for young learners. Premier and Minister for Education, the Honourable Juliana O'Connor Connolly, emphasized the importance of the program. Early childhood education is the foundation upon which a child's future is built, and the ECAP funding is an essential step in ensuring that all Caymanian children have access to quality learning experiences from an early age. Oh, I think I lost my I lost my area on the computer here. All right. I found it again. Parents and guardians may visit the ministry's online portal at moeapplications.gov.ky. That's moeapplications.gov.ky to check eligibility or submit an application. Along with a completed form, applicants will need to provide an electronic copy of the child's birth certificate, an official letter from Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman acknowledging the child's right to be Caymanian, a copy of the parent's government-issued ID, and proof of income. Applications will be reviewed and processed after submission, and families who apply by the 31st of July receive notification of an outcome via email by September 1st. Payments will be made directly to the early childhood institution. To learn more about ECAP funding, email the Ministry's Early Childhood Care and Education Unit at ecap@gov.ky or call them at 244-3155 or 244-3151. Again, the email there is ecap@gov.ky or call 244-3155 or 244-3151. And that is if you are looking for a little bit of assistance, up to $812 per month for early childhood education. So I think that's a pretty excellent initiative, and we know that so many people are in need of that assistance. Also, a press release that has just come out. It came out, I think, yesterday from the HSA. The HSA is opening summer student internship applications and committed to offering Caymanian students an opportunity to pursue careers in local healthcare. The Health Services Authority will open applications for its summer student internship program on April 1st. That's today. The deadline for applications is April 30th. Last year, the HSA hosted 100 students in various clinical and non-clinical departments, providing them with first-hand experience in navigating the professional world and building their resumes. The program will run for 4 to 8 week periods throughout June to September. Samantha Bennett, Chief HR Officer at the HSA, noted, quote, "Our summer student internship program is an investment in the future of our local community. By opening our doors to young talent, we're helping to build skills, create career pathways, and strengthen the local healthcare sector and economy. We are proud to support the next generation of professionals and contribute to a thriving, connected community. Caymanians continue to account for the majority of employees at the HSA, 52%, making significant contributions in the clinical, support, and non-clinical departments. Students applying to the program must be 16 years of age or older, Caymanian, or have the right to be Caymanian and have a genuine career interest in the field of healthcare. To apply, students must submit a personal statement of 100 words or more, a birth certificate, a copy of their current passport, the photo page, copy of a letter of acknowledgement on the right to be Caymanian or Caymanian status, proof of current health insurance coverage, slightly ironic for me in that sense, and proof of current schooling or their student ID, transcript, and confirmation letter. They can apply for the HSA internship through the HSA website at hsa.ky/careers/internships. You know what? It's a really long URL, so I'm just going to say go to the HSA website, and you will see from there where you can apply for the internship. So that is a little bit of news in the Cayman Islands this morning. April Fool's Day, the 1st of April, a brand new month out there. And right before we go to the 8 a.m. news, reminder to the listeners that in our next segment from 8:15 onwards, I will be speaking with Doctors Hospital. We're going to hear from 3 different doctors and surgeons about what they specialize in, and a bit of a focus on colon cancer, because March was Colon Cancer Awareness Month, and because we've been so busy, only now we can get them into the studio to discuss that topic in a little bit of greater detail. You know, that's the second leading cancer in the Cayman Islands. Yes, it is colon cancer, supposedly, from what I've read. So let's go to the 8 a.m. news, and I'll be back with you at 8:15.
Thank you, Kathy. And studio time now by Foster's is 8 o'clock.
Feast without the fuss.
Make Foster's part of your tradition this year with our full holiday feast.
For $94.99, you can feed up to 8 with a full meal. Order online, pick up in store.
Choose your main from our 12-hour smoked pork, oven-roasted turkey, or maple-glazed ham.
Or indulge your guests with our extra special herb-roasted leg of lamb feast or a 7-pound fried snapper for $119.99.
Order your full Easter feast online today at fosters.ky.
Foster's, better because we care.
We bring the sacrifice of praise to the house of the Lord.
Radio Cayman, this is how we wake you up in the morning. Praise time on Radio Cayman.
Sing your praise to the Lord. Come on, everybody, stand up and sing one more. Hallelujah, give your praise to the Lord. We are united in Jesus Christ. We are the soldiers of the land.
Praise time.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
There's a meeting up in heaven. Roll call. He's a name in the Lamb's Book of Life. Roll call, brother, sister. Roll call. If you don't stop shouting, if you don't stop dancing, we gon' put you out of our church.
Praise time.
Jesus in the morning, yeah.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Your song flow through my lips. Your work move through my hands. Your thoughts stay on my mind. Live in me.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
I'm April Cummings with your latest news. 2 of the candidates for the Parliament seat in East End took to the Radio Cayman airwaves last night, incumbent and government minister Isaac Rankin.
I am aptly qualified to lead. I have leadership capabilities. I've shown that. I also have 4 years of experience as a member of Parliament for East End. And with those 4 years, I've gained a lot of knowledge and has even made me more capable of leading the district and this country.
Challenger Roydell Carter made his case to Radio Cayman listeners.
I am well qualified to lead the District of East End. I believe in bold leadership, bold initiatives, and that is what I intend to bring to the District of East End. For too long, we have had a number of issues with leadership, and I'm about to change that.
You can see the full broadcast on Radio Cayman's YouTube channel, which also includes a discussion with Northside incumbent Jay Ebanks. Collaboration between the Cayman Islands and Anguilla, CIG TV's Kafara Augustin reports.
4 senior officers from His Majesty's Prisons Anguilla recently visited counterparts from the Cayman Islands Prison Service for a series of mentoring and knowledge-sharing sessions aimed at strengthening operational practices and institutional leadership. This overseas territories collaboration was proudly supported by the Ministry of Home Affairs, which facilitated sessions with Ministry of Home Affairs Deputy Chief Officer Lisa Mallis and Human Resources business partner Jamila Hollingsworth, focusing on workforce development, strategic leadership, and sustainable reform. Home Affairs officials said that this engagement reinforces the ministry's commitment to fostering meaningful partnerships that enhance correctional standards across the region.
CIDTV's Kafara Augustin there. The Cayman Islands Computer Science Society is hosting a hackathon in May. Radio Cayman's Jevi Ebanks has the details.
The Cayman Islands Computer Science Society is hosting a hackathon on Saturday, the 10th of May at Cayman Enterprise City's Signal House from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Open to participants of all skill levels, this free event focuses on creating technology-driven solutions for social good, offering a $2,000 cash prize for the best team project. Teams of 2 to 5 will form on the day, and participants must bring their own computers and chargers. Refreshments will be provided. Head of the hackathon, CICSS, is offering free training sessions to help participants prepare, covering topics like artificial intelligence, no-code development, and app building. The sessions are on the 2nd of April from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. entitled Building Apps with Glide. On the 16th of April from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Hackathon Starter Pack 1. And finally on the 30th of April from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Hackathon Starter Pack 2. For more information, you can visit enterprisecayman.ky. Jevi Ebanks, Radio Cayman News.
Thank you, Jevi. That is your latest local news. I'm April Cummings. Now to the BBC for stories making headlines around the world.
BBC World News, I'm Tom Dewsbury. Myanmar's military government says the number of people known to have died in Friday's earthquake now stands at more than 2,700. Many affected areas remain inaccessible, however, and the true number of casualties is expected to be much higher. The UN's Children Agency says 322 children have died in Gaza since Israel renewed its offensive in the Palestinian territory. UNICEF says more than 600 have been injured since the 2-month ceasefire collapsed last week. At least 100,000 cows and sheep in Australia are thought to have died in floodwater that's sweeping across the state of Queensland. Video footage shows animals huddled together on small islands of dry land. More cattle are expected to die as the heavy rains forecast to continue. The head of the European Union's commissions warned that it's ready to retaliate against the US if Donald Trump imposes import tariffs on its products. Ursula von der Leyen said the bloc was still open to negotiations, but had a strong plan to retaliate if necessary. Voters in Wisconsin are today deciding who'll take a vacant seat in the US state Supreme Court in an early test of the popularity of the Trump administration. The contest pits a Liberal candidate against a Conservative backed by Donald Trump. The president of the Democratic Republic of Congo has accused the international community of ignoring the deaths of millions of Congolese people who've been killed during conflicts in the east of the country. Felix Tshisekedi blamed neighbouring states and said by backing the M23 rebel group, Rwanda was a key perpetrator of the violence. A factory making firecrackers in the Indian state of Gujarat has caught fire, killing 18 people and injuring 5. Rescue workers are trying to save people thought to be trapped in the wreckage. A volcanic eruption in southwestern Iceland has prompted an evacuation order being issued for the fishing port of Grindavik. Lava from a crack in the Earth's crust has broken through a defensive barrier in the north of the town. BBC News.
Welcome back to Outlook. I'm Asya Fuchs.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the people's station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
Sports. Stay up to date on your sports news with Radio Cayman Monday through Friday at 7 a.m., 6 p.m., and 10 p.m. It's all about sports.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 81 degrees. Relative humidity is 86%. The barometric pressure is 29.95 inches and steady. The wind is east at 6 knots. Overnight low was 79 degrees. Synopsis indicate light winds and slight to moderate seas are expected to continue across the northwest Caribbean as an area of high pressure remains over the central Atlantic Ocean. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving towards the west-northwest. Now the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures will be in the mid to upper 80s with a heat index near 95 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's going to be a very hot day. Winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Tonight, fair skies with a 20% chance of showers and temperatures falling to the upper 70s tonight. Your winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 8 minutes past 11 and a low tide this evening at 5:44. The sun was set this evening at 6:38 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:19. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Wednesday morning. Thereafter, a gradual increase in winds and seas are expected as another area of high pressure builds across the western Atlantic Ocean. And that's the very latest on your weather report.
Hey, Bill, glad to see you back in the office.
Who?
Bill.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think you're mistaking me for someone else.
Tom.
Nope.
Jack.
No.
Alex.
No. Want me to just tell you?
Nope, I got this, George.
No, you don't. Still not me.
Adam.
Not even close, man.
We're like a coworker that didn't forget your name. CG Britcay. Good like that.
Okay, good to see you, Mike John Sean.
It's Mordecai.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
The new KFC nuggets have arrived. That unlike the no-gets, ours are handmade using 100% white meat, unlike the no-gets. At KFC, we hand-bread every day to achieve the perfect flavor. After you try our delicious and crispy nuggets in the original recipe, you'll never settle for less. KFC, the real nuggets. It's finger-licking good.
And now a paid political message from the Progressives.
Hi, this is Delmira Bodden, PPM candidate for East End. Please join me at Miss Lucille Rankin's yard on Wednesday, April 2nd at 7:30 p.m. Come out and hear the issues that matter to you. The solutions we are ready to deliver. Cayman needs proven, stable leadership. That's exactly what PPM is about. Let's keep moving forward with the PPM.
We're moving forward. We're moving forward.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Good morning again. This time we take a quick look at what's happening traffic-wise. Coming from the east further up on Shamrock Road and Rex Creighton Boulevard is flowing moderately. Further down, a different story as traffic is steady. Steady traffic on the lane for Pearson Highway. Slow-moving traffic on Crew Road heading to Georgetown. Expect slight delays. And downtown Georgetown flowing nicely on Edward Street. Into Georgetown on Shedmore looking good as well. Coming from the Westway 4-way stop, moderate flow of traffic. Owen Roberts Drive flowing nicely. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue traffic is flowing at a good pace in both directions. Coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, steady traffic, and continuing on to Huldah Avenue. Now, if you see any accidents or incidents, please let us know by calling us at 949-6990. As we look to North Sound Road, flowing moderately, and coming off of the Esley Tibbetts Highway, steady but flowing traffic. Heading towards the Industrial Park area, moderate flow of traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12. We'll give you another look at traffic.
Subway and Oreo has changed the dessert game. Introducing the Oreo footlong cookie, a full 12 inches of chocolatey, creamy goodness. It's big, it's bold, and it's here for a limited time. Perfect for sharing or not. We won't judge. Want it fast? Order ahead with the Subway Cayman Islands app for quick pickup and earn loyalty points, or get it delivered straight to your door with Bento and Let's Eat. Don't wait. Treat yourself today. The Oreo footlong cookie is calling your name. Subway. Eat fresh. Snack sweet.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. I am your host, Kathy Miller, and I'm surrounded by doctors now in studio. I'm happy to say this because this doesn't happen often, so we got a lot of questions that are going to be coming their way, and we're going to have a bit of a focus on colon cancer, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, but we're also going to be learning about the doctors and what they specialize in from a doctor's hospital. I am very happy to welcome this morning. We have Dr. Martinez, who is a GP and a family physician. We have Dr. Solomon, Chief of Surgery, General Surgeon, and with a special interest in colon cancer, and Dr. Choy, General Surgeon, specializing in bariatric surgery. Good morning, doctors. How are you all doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good. Now, right before we started, I was telling Dr. Martinez, well, everybody in here, I was just talking to myself for the first half hour of the Business Buzz. We're talking to the listeners, but talking to myself, and Dr. Martinez said, I keep telling people that they need to talk to themselves more, and I'm glad to hear this from a doctor. Some of us would think maybe we're going a little nuts, but I'm glad to hear this from a doctor.
Super important to talk to yourself.
Now, why do you say that?
Don't spend so much time in the phone. Now we don't get bored. I tell to the kids, I remember when I was a child, plenty of hours doing nothing, thinking, talking to yourself. That helps to know yourself. People now, they don't talk to themselves.
I agree. I like to say I am my own consultant, so that's why that happens. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of a brief introduction on yourselves, about your role at Doctor's Hospital, and a little bit on your professional background. Dr. Solomon, we'll start with you.
Well, I'm a generational Cayman, and I'll start off by saying that because I'm very proud of that fact. I was educated and trained in the U.S., returned home in about 2011, and have been interested in helping our community and just improving the overall health of our community.
Okay. All right, Dr. Choy, moving on to you.
I'm originally from Hong Kong, but I went to boarding school in England in the late 70s. I went to university and did all my training. I worked for 28 years for the National Health Service as a consultant before coming to Cayman 9 years ago. So I've been with Doctor's Hospital for 4 or 5 years now. So my main interest is in gastrointestinal surgery and also with weight loss surgery.
Okay, which I think is a pretty popular thing happening with people, especially
a few years ago. There's definite demand for it worldwide, but now this latest medical treatment, the Ozempic, the injections, that's obviously taken a fair portion of patients away from surgery. Maybe you can talk about that later on.
Absolutely. And Dr. Martinez.
So I am the medical director of Integra. Integra is part of Doctor Hospital. I was born and raised in Spain, studied medicine in Spain, training in family medicine and emergency, and I practice as a family physician at Integra.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for the brief introduction, letting our listeners know a little bit about you at least. And Dr. Martinez, I'm going to turn to you as a GP. You're often the first point of contact for patients. What are some of the most common health concerns that you see in your practice?
Okay, as a GP or family physician, you are the base of the pyramid of the healthcare, no? So you are the entry point to the healthcare system. So you see everything, no? The good thing about the training to become a family physician is that you rotate in all specialties, no? From ENT to gynae, everything. Any of the big syndromes that I normally call are very common. So the big syndromes for me are headache, chest pain, abdominal pain, osteomuscular problems, mental health problems, and then even administrative problems. No, you can need a diving license, a driver's license. So we try to accommodate the care to the person that is coming. I always say when the door opens, I don't know what is coming. No, I don't know the problem. I'm not specialized in anything. So what I have to do is to give the best care and to decide who can do it better than me. No?
Okay. How often should we be seeing a GP? Because some people are saying annual. Some people I know don't go at all unless they might get really sick. But even if we're not sick, how often should we be seeing you?
The GP is a very special relationship in healthcare. No, it's the person that the patient will trust for any medical problem or anything they think is medical. Sometimes even is not. You should have your personal GP, someone who knows who you are, what do you do at work, if you are married, if you are not, if you have children, knows you perfectly. So when you come with a problem, can have a global picture, and from there, what can be 20 different things, the GP is the filter to make that 2 or 3 things. No?
Okay.
When you have the 2 or 3 things, you can diagnose and treat yourself, or I always say, know your limits. Give the patient the best option. So then I pick up the phone, call these guys, and they are always there for my patients. So
okay. Well, how do you know or determine when a patient needs to be referred to a specialist?
The first thing in medicine, and I think it's for the 3 of us here, is to know your limitations. Second is to know if there is someone that can do something better than you. Because we don't practice medicine to feed our ego. It's to solve other people's problems, no, in the best way that you can do it. So when you see that the problem is too big for you, or there is someone that can do it better than you pick up the phone, you send a referral, and you look for a better option, no? Always thinking in the health of the person that is sitting across you and trust you. No?
Absolutely. I think that trust is a really big factor, especially in finding a GP and figuring out who you are comfortable with. But also, I think as a patient, there's a lot of patients that they don't know how to advocate for themselves. They don't know how to say, okay, I'm really feeling this, something is going on, you need to pay attention, or there might be a family history with stuff. So as I mentioned, I think before you guys came on and maybe at the very beginning of our segment, that for me, there's a family history with colon cancer, for example. And, you have certain ages or you're supposed to get screened for things, but you might just be feeling some symptoms or just might be scared or have a friend who's been diagnosed with something and you want to advocate for yourself. But a lot of people have trouble doing that. How would you encourage patients to advocate for themselves more and just really kind of press their GP?
The first thing we need to understand, we as doctors, we become obsessive with medicine. So there is a point that we think everybody knows things that we know, and they don't. No, so you need to cross the desk and think in the way the other person is thinking, and with that knowledge. Many people is not aware of things that for us are common, and we need to understand that some people is not that they don't care about their health, is that they don't know how to care. No? And the mission of the GP is to help them, to help themselves, to give, I would say, good advices, to reinforce good habits, and to advise. We are advisors, no? We are not like 70 years ago, the doctor, do this, tell this, take this. No. I think you should do this because of this, and this is going to bring you this benefit and this. So you explain, is a common decision. We take the decision, we do screenings, investigations, we plan, and from there, trying to get the best, no? The best for the patient, of course, always.
I like that. I think it's important. And I know, at least for me, I would press my GP. And I have a good relationship with mine. And they do listen in the sense that I'm like, hey, I need to get this done. My GP has listened to me. And while that is at HSA, and I know you guys are at Doctor's Hospital, it makes such a difference. And the conversations I want to say that I've had with people, and there's often a misconception that is said with medicine and with doctors that they just kind of want to prescribe you something and kind of, move you along, and it's about billing and making money, and they're not really advising you maybe to change your lifestyle and whatnot. And I said, but that's not been my experience. So I think I'm lucky in the sense that I've, maybe not even lucky, but that's just not been my experience. The doctors that I've gone to have been really supportive and have advised. And it's not a money-making thing for them per se. It's about what solutions do we have? How can we find the root of your problem? And I think we need to keep that in mind, because so many people out there are going to the school of Facebook, and they think that they know better, or the school of Google, the University of Google, and they think that they know better. Or, ChatGPT, absolutely, and they think they know better than the doctor who's gone to school for I don't know how many years. You guys practice your profession, and then you have to practice within the hospital before you're actually full-on doctors, right? So it's that trust factor is an important thing, and it can be hard. I think with the stubborn people that want to believe that they know better, but I think to be able to establish that relationship is super key.
Super important.
I think it's a lot of people come into my office and they've done some superficial work. They've Googled something, and I really don't take exception to that. I look at it as they're trying to inform themselves. And a lot of times it just can help me either redirect them or, I think a lot of us get into medicine because of trying to help people, but also there's not a day that goes by when I don't learn something. So we have a system called continuing medical education. And sometimes a patient will come in and talk to me about something, and I say, you know what, I really don't know the answer to that question. Let me look it up. Sometimes I'll even do it right in front of them just for transparency, because I think it's pretty arrogant for any doctor to fake like he knows everything. It's just impossible. And so while we're specialists or doctors, there is a limit to our fund of knowledge. And so just being transparent with a patient builds trust. It builds that this guy is going to be honest with me. And I think that's critical to building that physician-patient relationship, which is at the core of good health care. Because if you don't have that, then the patient's not going to come and talk to you about something, and it may save their life.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
I think it is useful to have a regular doctor that you have trust and you're familiar with. I think apart from seeing a doctor for symptoms, specific problems, wellness is a very important part in prevention. So you have yearly vehicle inspection. As we get older, we should have yearly health inspection. Sometimes we're not aware our blood pressure is high. We may not be aware our blood sugar is high. On the STEP survey that the government did, we know there's a lot of undertreated patients with diabetes in the community, weight problems, high blood pressure. So these things patients may not realize they have problems with. But unless we see a doctor to have that check on the yearly basis, minimal, then over the years, complication that can arise. And it's best to identify the problem and get it treated as best as possible.
When you say, Dr. Choy, that there's some, especially from that STEP survey and the results that were published from that, there's some very common issues here, diabetes being one of them for sure. I was pre-diabetic. I actually just did another whole blood test, so I need to go and check it out. But again, I was advised, take these steps, and as much as I am addicted to chocolate, I feel like I am made half of milk chocolate. I took some steps, and I really cut certain things out and brought better food into my life.
Developing full-blown diabetes if you take the right steps.
Yes, it's a big thing, so it's an important thing. I don't want to be injecting myself with insulin and all the rest. But
I tell many patients when they say, I think I'm pre-diabetic, I say, we are pre-everything.
Oh.
No? The only way not to become the stage after pre is to keep every year control of things, not to check yourself. Because we don't realize time flies. Every year we are 1 year older.
Yeah.
Right? Luckily for us, because whoever doesn't have a birthday again is a disaster, no?
Right.
And we need to adapt. Like Dr. Choy put a very good example. No, I tell the patients, the car, you can get spare parts. For us, spare parts are very difficult. But we cannot buy a new ourselves. My car, when it's broken, I buy a new one, and I'm super happy. It smells fantastic, and we cannot do it with ourselves. So we need to keep this car running for years.
At least surface level, maybe we can upgrade there a little bit on the surface of our bodies. But internally, it's a lot harder.
Body and paint can be done, but...
Right.
That's another conversation.
Internally, it's definitely a lot harder. But Dr. Choy, going back to the question I was going to ask you is blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease. I think there was one other thing that you mentioned. Is there common factors that you're seeing in Cayman, whether it's lifestyle or food choices that are sedentary lifestyles that are leading to these common illnesses we're seeing in Cayman?
I think obviously eating healthy, exercising regularly, keeping our weight at a healthy level are very important factors to keep ourselves in good health. And as you know, vegetables, fruits, the fresh produce cost more to buy. Fast food is convenient but not so good for us. We live in a hot climate, we drive everywhere, we don't walk, we want to avoid mosquitoes. So I think the lack of exercise, eating unhealthily, all these things contribute to less desirable lifestyles that we lead. So I think that's the part that we all can strive to improve. I know the government have been looking at whether they should put tax on unhealthy, sugary food items, for example. There are different ways. Public education as well is important. So I think public health really need to get the message across, and then all of us can obviously try to improve in different aspects, and with the help of our primary care physicians, hopefully we can all achieve a better, healthier lifestyle.
I know we have to go to a commercial break, but right before we go, you did mention that the tax on sugary items, the sugar tax as it's called. I think Barbados has something like that. That's just going by memory. What is your thoughts on that?
Well, I think there are lots of different ways to approach the problem. I think we are living in an environment that inflation is rampant. A lot of people can't afford a lot of essential services. Putting extra tax is never going to be popular. I think it's better for people to be educated so they select a healthy option, avoiding the unhealthy foods rather than taxation. That's just another penalty on a lot of people's pocket, which may not be the best thing to do. I think education, self-awareness, I think that's much better than putting a tax on.
I guarantee you, at this 30 days or so away from the election,
Right.
it's not going to be a popular discussion.
I gave you a political question right there.
None of us want to pay tax. I think that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes you have to think of a way of stopping the tide of unhealthy eating.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, we'll go to that commercial break, and when we come back, we will continue our discussion.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center.
Specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I am your host, Kathy Miller, and we are talking with three doctors from Doctors Hospital. We have Dr. Martinez, GP and family physician, Dr. Solomon, chief of surgery, general surgeon with a special interest in colon cancer, and Dr. Choy, general surgeon specializing in bariatric surgery. Now, Dr. Solomon and Dr. Choy, when we say general surgeon, you specialize in general surgery, but what is this? What does this cover per se, and what kind of surgeries don't you touch?
Well, some people refer to it as bread and butter surgery. So we deal with a lot of simple surgical problems such as gallbladders and hernias and skin lesions, abscesses. So general things that people deal with every day. I'm sure Dr. Martinez sees a lot of them. He sends a number of patients my way that have simple problems. So we're not talking about a lot of life-threatening problems, although sometimes abdominal pain can present as a life-threatening problem. For example, if somebody comes in with appendicitis or something, that can needs to be dealt with expeditiously, but mostly just general stuff. So gallbladders, hernias, lumps and bumps, we like to describe that. So if you got like a fatty tumor or a lipoma, we would probably be the ones to deal with that.
Okay.
Although sometimes the GP, if they feel comfortable enough, they'll address some of those issues.
Okay.
I think years gone by, I think there were not so many surgical subspecialties. So general surgery, almost like the default. We used to do everything, but now you've got urologists dealing with urinary problems. Obviously, there's so many specializations within surgery now. So I think general surgery in these days, modern days, is more gastrointestinal, assessing GI problems, bowel-related problems. So we see a lot of patients who have abdominal complaints, be it pain, be it any other symptoms, bowel problems. So that's the bulk of our work, really.
Okay.
GI, gastrointestinal problems.
Now I'm going to get into into my personal dealings here, because I don't mind sharing what I've gone through, because I think awareness is really, really important for everybody out there. Not everybody's comfortable about talking about this stuff. So as I said earlier, that March was Colon Cancer Awareness Month, right? And Dr. Choy, you just mentioned like stomach issues and whatnot. There's always a root cause for things. I think with me, I started to notice a lot of inflammation. I think inflammation is, from what I've been reading and understanding, you can absolutely correct me at any point, that inflammation is a really huge cause to different problems going on in your body. So all I did was roll my ankle playing pickleball, which I'm sure you get a lot of pickleball injuries, right? And I was so bummed. You do, right?
Yeah.
I was so upset because I was also somewhat training for the marathon or half marathon, and I was just put out. But instead of being put out for like a week, because that's what I'm used to with ankle sprains, it was 2 months before I could even wear heels again. So I was like, okay, what's going on here? And of course, it took me 2 months before I went to the doctor. So it could have been torn ligaments. I'll never know at this point. But in that little bit of time, it was the weight gain and the foods that I was eating. And almost every night I was waking up with, it was acid reflux, but I didn't know it was acid reflux. I'd never, almost every single night for a month. And finally, it's just, 2 months of this is going on. And I go to my doctor. I'm like, I gained weight like a pregnant woman would. That, in the short amount of time I was like, I'm not pregnant, but it's almost in that kind of rapid increase of weight. And by the way, I wake up every night and I feel like I'm going to vomit. It's just this thing that just rises in my throat, and I had no idea what was going on. And so we did a whole series of tests, and I said, while I'm here, I want to get screened for colon cancer. So I want to do the colonoscopy. And I said, because my father had it and died, my brother has it and is really in like the last stages of his life. My brother's about 7 years older than me, and I'm in my mid 40s, but I knew about my brother's cancer maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. And the doctor then had told my mother, make sure Kathy goes in right away to get screened, get a colonoscopy, because if it's her dad and brother, she can likely carry a gene. I still don't know if I have the gene. I don't think I figured that part out. But I still waited a few years. And so when I went into my GP and she said, okay, you're going to see the specialist for this. And I said, I need you to go in my stomach because I was so worried. I thought I had stomach cancer. I was so scared. And I mean, it was the acid reflux that was happening. It turns out I have a hiatal hernia as well. I'm like, how did this happen? So and then I was scared. I can't go to the gym. And the doctor was like, don't even worry about that. You just have to worry about some of the foods you eat. But with that hernia, so when they went in and did the colonoscopy, they also did the endoscopy. And so that's how they found the hiatal hernia. Everything else was fine. I had 3 polyps removed, and they were precancerous. And the specialist said, if you waited another year, Kathy, you would have colon cancer. And that year is right now. So for me, I was like, oh, that would have been my dad, my brother, me, and my poor mom, right? For her to go through that. So I think it's important to bring this kind of awareness and understanding of colon cancer, particularly. That's kind of what I want to focus on at this point. And from what I'm understanding, there's a lot more, there's research out there, and there's been a lot more people that are in their 30s and 40s being diagnosed with colon cancer. I understand it. I think it's the second leading cancer in the Cayman Islands, which is kind of a serious thing.
Well, worldwide, colorectal cancer is the 3rd leading cancer cause of death.
Wow.
And in the overwhelming majority of cases, it's preventable. And this is, I'll explain why this is near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
Because when I came home, I had a young lady, 42 years old, 2 kids. I think they were 8 and 11 at the time, which my kids are currently. She came to me and she was having some blood, and we said, "Oh yeah, it's probably hemorrhoids. No other symptoms, just blood, just a little bit of blood." And we said, yeah, it's probably blood. You're 42. At that time, the recommendation for a screening colonoscopy was at age 50.
Right.
In about 2018, they moved it down to 45, because what we had found out was that we were doing a really good job on picking up cancers in people over the age of 50 and saving lives. But what we also found out was that there was basically an epidemic of cancers in younger individuals under the age of 50, and that forced us to move the screening down to 45.
Is that for men and women?
Yeah.
Okay.
For men and women. And she subsequently went on to die within 3 years of her diagnosis. And that really, it changed me personally, because then I started promoting that this is preventable, that like you just explained, polyps that are precancerous can be removed, and you never have to have that conversation about cancer with the patient. Now, and that to me, and I've had that conversation multiple times, and it's always a very draining and very emotional conversation. It changes people's lives when they hear the word cancer. You have cancer is a life-altering statement. And so in 2017, I started promoting and giving talks with the Lions Center in conjunction with the Lions Club, and I think it's called the PACE events, about the need in our community to be aggressive about trying to improve colon cancer screening, because there's no doubt in my mind that it does save lives. And so that's part of my particular interest in colon cancer, and particularly the screening for colon cancer.
So how would you describe the situation in Cayman Islands when it does come to colon cancer?
I think we're getting better. We're improved. I think it's over the past 10 to 15 years that I've been here. What I've tried to do is put it so that it's a conversation that people aren't afraid to have. Because as you say, some people don't like to talk about it. But it's not something that we should be reticent to talk about. This is something that, when you're talking about the third leading cause of death worldwide from colon cancer, this is something that we have to be aware of. I don't know. I haven't really looked at the statistics locally. I know we've been trying to promote a cancer registry. I'm not sure that the numbers would be accurate because it's voluntary as opposed to mandatory reporting. Mm-hmm. And then we also have a transient community. So some people are here and gone, and you don't know whether it's actual. The numbers reflect what's actually happening in the population here, as opposed to somebody may get diagnosed with cancer and then they're lost, and we never even count that. But here, I think the care that's provided is improving, and then we also have relationships with the cancer centers like Miami, Sylvester Cancer Center, MD Anderson. So there are options if we feel like patients need to have that specialty. And I imagine as we grow, some of our healthcare is limited just by the size of our country, 80,000, 90,000 people. So that limits a bit of it. But now we're at the point now where we've got 3 hospitals on island, and so as a medical community, there's really not much that we shouldn't be able to do. We still have some growth to go, but we are leaps and bounds ahead of where we were.
So when it comes to early detection with colon cancer, we're saying 45 is when you should do screenings now. That's what the age has dropped down from 50 to 45.
Well,
is there any other?
Yeah. So and the GPs are involved with this. So part of that annual screening may be to check for an occult blood or stool in your blood that you can't even see. And that should be routine at least at age 40. But certainly if you're having symptoms, you need to have a discussion with your doctor. But routinely, I would expect that most general practitioners would start screening for occult blood at age 40.
So I never did that screening for the blood.
Is very accurate, no? Mm-hmm. It's very easy. Some people is scared of doing a colonoscopy. You can do it at any age in someone that you have any suspicion. I give you a kit, you bring it back, and I call you with the results. If the results are positive, I send you to these guys, and they will do a colonoscopy.
Okay.
In terms of options of screening, colonoscopy is still the gold standard. The stool test, The cord blood is non-invasive, convenient, cheap to do. In terms of the accuracy, you can get false negatives because small polyps don't bleed all the time. So if you have a test done, it's negative, it doesn't guarantee 100%. That's no problem there. On the other hand, hemorrhoids are common, and that's a common cause for bleeding, so you may get a false positive. But no question, it is easy and convenient. In the UK, for the NHS, they can't afford to do colonoscopy on everyone, so it depends on your locality, your local policy. Fecal cord blood can be considered to be an option, but it's still not the most accurate. If you have fecal cord blood, they need to be done on a yearly basis, whereas for colonoscopy, if you don't have any risk factors for colon cancer, and it's all clear, normally it's good for 10 years. And it's obviously both diagnostic and therapeutic. I think I would agree with everything Darley said earlier on. Colon cancer is completely preventable. All we need to do is proactive. We do a lot of colonoscopies for screening. What I would say is that for screening patients, we may find small polyps. They don't have symptoms. We may find small polyps, but in general, rare for us to diagnose colon cancer. But the other way around, in patients with diagnosed colon cancer, virtually none of these patients had screening done before. So I think that's the importance of it. If we're proactive and follow the recommendations, it's preventable.
Interesting. Now, I never had any symptoms. I just knew that my brother and dad have it. It's likely very hereditary for me.
Yeah, I think family history is a risk factor. So whenever we see a patient, we ask for a history of personal history of any symptoms, any history of inflammatory bowel disease, family history of colon cancer. We are not too worried about family history of polyps because polyps are common. When we do colonoscopy for the over 50s, 1 in 4 to 1 in 5 patients will find small polyps. So polyps per se won't worry us too much, but if it's a clear, strong family history, what we mean by that is first degree relatives. Parents, siblings, children, developing colon cancer at a young age, then we'll be much more concerned. In fact, if there's a clear cluster of cases within the family, you may opt to do genetic testing to see whether there are inherited mutations that increase the risk, and you can tailor the screening based on their calculated risk from the laboratory test.
Does the patient have to ask for that genetic testing to happen?
I think it's a discussion that any patient should have a discussion with the doctor. I mean, if they feel that the family history is so strong, then it's worth doing it. I think that should be considered. I think if it's just a distant relative, one person, then probably the point of doing genetic testing is not that strong. If you do genetic testing, there are lots of implications. If you tested positive, not only would you need to be surveyed more frequently, it would obviously in terms of life assurance and all the for that type of long-term health coverage, it may have an impact on it. You may obviously for your children, you have to obviously consider that as well. So these things are not straightforward to decide. So I think we need to discuss it fully with the individual and the family and decide whether genetic testing should be applied to that person alone or to the rest of the family.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. That's great information there. We got to go to commercial break. I'm about 7 minutes late for that commercial break. It was just such a good conversation we were having right there.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Biggest variety in the morning.
Classy fusion.
Following the 10 a.m. news headline.
Brought to you by TCE Paint Shop, 27 Godfrey Nixon Way.
RC Fusion.
The Georgetown Farmers Market. It's time you start eating local. The market at the Cricket Grounds.
My Kinda Cleaners. Call or WhatsApp 326-3379 for your free quote today. Ministry of Planning, Agriculture, Housing, Infrastructure, Transportation, and Development. Also brought to you by Rosanna Dixon Insurance. Protect your family with critical illness coverage. Call Rosanna Dixon at 547-0952.
Biggest variety in the morning.
Radio K-Man. The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I am your host, Kathy Miller, and in studio with me, we have from Doctors Hospital, we have Dr. Solomon, we have Dr. Choy, we have Dr. Martinez, who's also part of Integra Health. So Dr. Choy just gave us some great information right before going to the commercial break, and I know, Dr. Solomon, we were just talking now in the commercial break, and I think you had some things that you wanted to add.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that there's such a thing called an adenoma detection rate, and that's kind of a guideline for those of us who do endoscopies, colonoscopies, and that should anticipate that you detect, if you take 10 patients, 4 out of 10 patients will likely have polyps. So that's kind of a benchmark that you aim for, and if you're not getting that 40% adenoma detection rate, that usually indicates that you may be missing some polyps.
What do we mean by missing some polyps?
Well, sometimes if the prep isn't accurate, or some of these polyps are, for lack of a better word, sinister. They're very discreet. Sometimes they need a different light source to detect them, and they can be missed by the naked eye. So when we're looking, if you're not very in tune with what you're looking for, because some of them are very subtle, and not all polyps are pre-malignant, and some of the subtle ones can be mimicked by polyps that are very aggressive. So you have to have a high index of suspicion, and I'm pretty sure that both Dr. Choy and I are aggressive about at least biopsying anything that we think is suspect.
I mean, the polyps we're talking about are a few millimeter in size, so they're quite small. And if the bowel, despite taking the bowel prep to cleanse the bowel, if there's still a lot of residual fluid, sometimes small polyps can be obscured by that. So what Dr. Solomon mentioned is that high-resolution colonoscopy, you can use different light spectrum to highlight any more subtle lesions that you may not see so easily. They even now have AI program that with pattern recognition. So we don't have it on the island, but some of these software highlight areas which potentially may be small polyps that the endoscopist have not been able to clearly identify. So there are different ways to help us to be more accurate and not missing any subtle small lesions. So that's something that's obviously being developed constantly to improve the detection rate.
That's so interesting. It'd be amazing if we could get the AI technology on island as well, whether it's going to be at Doctor's Hospital or elsewhere, but just all the methods that are available, the tools available for doctors to be able to use to help in the exams. I think it's just so important, whatever we can do to help assist you guys in figuring it out. If we can get that here, that would be amazing. So I hear a lot about AI in healthcare and the advancement there. So there's just so much more to come. And I think that's something for us all to look forward to. Dr. Choy, you did mention that if you did a colonoscopy and you were found, I think it was free of any polyps or everything looked clean, it would be maybe another 10 years before you're recommended to do another one, right?
Yeah.
To me, that almost feels like it's too long, like no matter what, because of the rate of cancer seems to be going up, right?
Yeah. When we say 10 years, we're talking about patients who don't have any risk factors. So family history of colon cancer would be a definite risk factor. So for someone who has a family history, If they have the normal colonoscopy, most specialists would probably recommend repeating after 5. So we wouldn't leave for as long as 10 years. So the interval for the screening would be tailored to the individual person in question. So some patients who have certain conditions, what we call FAP, for example, some of these patients develop literally hundreds of polyps from young age, from a late teenager. Those patients need to have yearly colonoscopy. So I think it depends on the underlying condition that the patient may have. We have to recommend the best way for surveillance of those patients. There are different risk factors, but in someone who doesn't have any risk factors, the recommendation is once every 10 years. For someone who have no risk factors but found to have small polyps, less than 1 centimeter in size, fewer than perhaps just 1 or 2 polyps, normally we'll repeat it after 5. If we find 3 polyps or more, then we'll repeat after 3. So it's a bit complicated. I won't break it down to how we decide. For us, we're trained to assess all the risk factors to make a personal recommendation. So it's important that obviously you have that discussion once the examination is done to determine when the next examination should be carried out.
Okay, that makes sense because mine was 3 polyps.
Yeah.
And the doctor said, you should return maybe in 3 years.
Yeah,
and I
3
said, I'll be
years
back
is
in
probably
2.
what, yeah.
I don't, just to be preventive in that sense, right? And that's the best that I can do, at least, is just try because I guess, I don't know the growth of it. Is there any idea of the growth rate of polyps within you and when it comes to colon cancer?
I think majority don't grow that fast. So I think in your, well, I shouldn't talk about personal.
No, you can. I'm talking about my personal situation, so
but
it's
from
no
what
problem.
I've heard, I think 3 years is exactly what I would recommend too.
Okay.
So I think if we keep on top doing that in that time frame, I think the chance of you having any problems is actually very small.
Okay, excellent. All right, that's good to know. Now, you also specialize with GI issues.
Well, we both.
Oh,
do.
you both do. Both of you do. Okay. So when it comes to GI issues, I feel like there's a lot of that happening as well. What are the most common things that you're seeing with GI issues? What can we do to prevent them, or when should we really be worried that we need to go and see a doctor about this?
Well, if it crosses your mind, you should go see a doctor. That's the first rule. If you're thinking about it, if you're like, maybe I had this little vague abdominal pain. If it happens once, okay, maybe you can, depending on your risk factor. If you've got a risk factor, then you should be more aggressive about seeking medical advice. It seems to me that there's an explosion of people with irritable bowel syndrome, and that is something that can present with pain, discomfort, bloating, change in bowel habits, and some of that can mimic colon cancer. And so it's critical to differentiate. Is this something that I'm just going to have to manage by changing my diet, or is this a more serious condition that I need to address? I think it's, and I would say after age 40, if you're having some type of symptoms, you should go see a doctor. I mean, I think that's a basic rule. When you're in your 20s and 30s, and now, even though the statistics are showing that there's more colon cancer under the age of 50, if you're having a symptom, you should probably go see a doctor.
Okay.
The most common GI problems I face as a GP are functional. Like Dr. Solomon was saying, IBS, that is a syndrome. It's very difficult to even diagnose. It's heartburn, is dyspepsia, is bad digestion, feeling bloated. So what you have to do is when you first regularly visit your GP, because I always say we live in a nice forest, and I am the one who will tell you where the wolves are,
Mm-hmm.
that you don't think about them. And second, anything that you feel that you didn't have before and it's starting to happen can be a red flag, and you don't know. The only way to know is to come to the doctor to do a very good clinical history and determine if you need more investigations or not.
That's the first step.
Yes, because everybody has his job, no? My job is to do that. The mechanic is to check the car. The lawyer to check if you are in good terms with the law, no? So we cannot pretend to know about everything. So we cannot be our own doctors, no?
That's a great point. We've got to go to the 9 a.m. news. A little late for the 9 a.m. news headlines. But when we come back, we'll be somewhat wrapping up the conversation.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
I'm April Cummings with your latest headlines. The Cayman Islands Ministry of Education has opened applications for the Early Childhood Assistance Program, or ECAP, for the 2025-2026 academic year. Eligible families can receive up to $812 per month toward preschool tuition. Children must be Caymanian and turn 3 before September 1st, 2025. The program has expanded its financial thresholds, allowing more families to qualify. Applications are available online at moeapplications.gov.ky. In international headlines, New Jersey Democratic Senator Cory Booker carried an all-night speech in protest of President Donald Trump's agenda into this morning. Booker took to the Senate floor on Monday evening, saying he would remain there as long as he was physically able. He was still on the floor more than 12 hours later. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration's chief tobacco regulator has been removed from his post as sweeping cuts hit the agency and staffers across the federal health workforce today. In an email to staff, FDA Tobacco Director Brian King said it was with a heavy heart and, quote, profound disappointment that he shared he'd been placed on administrative leave. King was removed from his position and offered reassignment to the Indian Health Service, according to a person familiar with the matter who did not have permission to discuss it publicly and spoke on the condition of anonymity. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
Radio Cayman. More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are talking right now about colon cancer and GI issues. We have in studio from Doctors Hospital, Dr. Solomon, Dr. Choy, and Dr. Martinez. Dr. Martinez is also part of Integra Healthcare, and I've got a whole lot of information. I told a little bit about my personal experience and history, family history with colon cancer, and March was Colon Cancer Awareness Month, which is why I wanted to have a focused discussion on this topic. And, we were talking a little bit about what your symptoms could be, the screening options that are available out there for people who might be having some symptoms, or if it's hereditary in your family, when you should start getting screened, start getting colonoscopies and the other tests that they can do prior to a colonoscopy happening. Now, when it comes to dietary and lifestyle influences, I always feel like things go right back to your diet, your lifestyle, almost as if that's kind of a root cause to things. And oftentimes it is. So when we're considering the dietary and lifestyle influences, is there an association which I think quite obviously there is, between diet, obesity, and colon cancer. Can you share what foods may make us more susceptible to colon cancer or GI issues?
I think eating healthy not only would help digestive system, it help our general health. And obviously, we want a well-balanced diet, lots of fruits, vegetables, and fibers that will help to regulate the bowels. The foods that are not good for us, increasing the risk of colon cancer, include highly processed meat, red meat, preservatives, chemicals, a diet high in fat, and obesity can also increase. With an appropriate diet, obesity itself, it's also a risk factor for colon cancer. So eating healthy, it is a very, very important part. Going back to symptoms, GI symptoms, abdominal pain, discomfort, they are common. Or for the middle age onwards, we'll be more concerned about ruling out colon cancer. But even for young patients, it may be irritable bowel, but we still need to rule out problems like inflammatory bowel disease. Sometimes it could be food poisoning, gastroenteritis. Sometimes it could be due to food allergies. So I think what we should do is not dismiss any symptoms. So if we don't feel well, have abdominal complaints, I think it's best to discuss it with your primary care doctor. And depending on the situation, one can always refer on to a GI specialist like Dr. Solomon and myself.
Regarding the diet, I always tell to the patients, is when you go to the supermarket, try to replicate the basket your grandmother used to buy when she was 20 at the supermarket. If you do the same shopping she used to do at that time, probably you are eating healthy now. No, because there is so much processed food in the shelves of the supermarkets, so beautiful, colored, that is very attractive. So let's think, imagine what someone in Cayman was getting from the supermarket in the 70s. Replicate that basket, and probably you are eating better than now.
Now, you're from Spain, right, Dr.
Yeah.
Martinez? So my family is Eastern European, and I'm not sure if Spain is similar, but I can say that in Eastern European culture, at least in Serbian culture, those high-fatty meats are extremely popular. We grew up eating all the different kind of salamis you could have and sausages, and when I was reading about colon cancer, I was like, cut that out. So I'd talk to my brother. I don't care that you grew up on this and this is what you do, but this could be like a really leading contributing factor. So there could be a lot of cultural influence, and we're just so used to what we're eating, but change has to be made somehow, and we're really in control of that change.
Mediterranean diet has evidence. You can read plenty of articles. Mediterranean diet, that is legumes, veggies, fish, olive oil, fruits. There is an evidence that promotes health, cardiovascular health, less cancer, better in everything,
Right.
Better aging.
Yes, absolutely. Although I don't know what my secret is on that one, but there's something going on there. Dr. Solomon, I think you had said something about, was it a high fiber diet?
Yeah, there's when you think of the things you can change in terms of your risk for colon cancer, one of them is your diet. And recommendations, a high fiber diet that's 20 to 30 grams, 20 to 40 grams of fiber a day. And to put that in perspective, I usually tell patients it's about 5 to 6 servings of fruits or vegetables a day. And that not only is good for your colon health, it's good for your mental health. There are studies coming out recently that say people who eat 8 or more servings of vegetables or fruits a day are happier. They're just happier people, more satisfied with life. And so, and then Dr. Martinez touched on something. There's something called blue zones where people live to be 100 years old.
Right.
And one of those zones in the U.S. of all places is in Loma Linda, California, where they have a high population of Seventh-day Adventists. And Seventh-day Adventists are fairly common in the Cayman Islands. And they basically adhere to a vegetarian diet. And another location is the Mediterranean. And so there's a commonality with high fiber diet, fruits and vegetables, and a decreased risk of cancer in general. And the additional benefit is longevity. I mean, people living to 100 years old.
Costa Rica as well. There's an area in Costa Rica that's considered a blue zone.
Right. Uh-huh.
And I think in some part of Italy as well is considered a blue zone.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a Netflix special on the blue zones.
Right.
If people are more interested in that. But it's really interesting. And when you're looking at the lifestyle that they're leading and why they're considered a blue zone and what this all means, it's
probably a little less stress too.
Yeah.
The blue. So health is a holistic thing. So diet, moving around, but socializing is very important. No, societies where the people is not a Caymanian society, luckily, where the people is isolated, and people live less. No, so going out, chatting with friends, going for a walk, that is super common in my country, in Spain. The old people gets together, go for a walk, chat, gossip, do everything.
Mm-hmm.
They come back renewed, mentally and physically. And we need to recover all these things to be healthier, because health is a global concept, Happiness is part of it, You can be very healthy, you are unhappy, you are not healthy.
Yes, agreed.
So,
Agreed with you on that. And I think, Dr. Choy, you had said something about when you're looking at symptoms and you're trying to do kind of different testing, food allergies was one of them. And I can say from my experience, when I did a food allergy test, because I was like, what's going on? My face would just blow up and I would look like the Pillsbury Doughboy with certain things that I ate. And I was like, I don't understand. And so that was the inflammation part. And it came from, despite the food allergies, saying that I don't have any allergies to gluten or gluten intolerance, I am absolutely 100% saying to my doctors, it is gluten, because there is a complete difference. If I have it for a few days, I will notice the change. I will notice crazy puffiness, and I think that's the other hard thing. So as a patient, you will notice, and you might have to do your own food elimination diet, because I think things aren't always picked up in tests.
Yeah, I think gluten allergy is probably a little bit underdiagnosed. Even in patients who don't have a complete gluten allergy, like celiac disease, it's still difficult to digest and break down. And so I think by experience, by choice, if you have a lot of gluten food items and you get a lot of bloating and discomfort, I think it's probably best to cut down the quantity. You may not have to stop it completely. Of course, you can still be tested properly for celiac disease, but even if that's turned out to be negative, we know it's more difficult to digest. Lactose intolerance is another common thing, and that's why so many people try to avoid dairy products. Lactose is a carbohydrate present in dairy products, and to break it down, we have to produce a certain enzyme in the gut. So for some patients, we don't produce enough of this enzyme. It becomes fermented in the gut, so that generates a lot of gas and bloating and discomfort, and that's why people go for the alternative soy milk, almond milk, and so on and so forth. So you can get really extensively tested for food allergy testing, but if you don't want to do that, I think by trial and error, if you find certain types of food always tend to upset you, you may just have to cut back on it. Even you have the testing done, the treatment is still the same, cutting back on the offending items, but hopefully there's still plenty left for you to enjoy a variety of balanced diet.
Keep a diary. Write every day. Anyone who has any functional gastrointestinal issues, every day write in a notebook or in an iPad, whatever you use, breakfast, snacks, lunch, drinks.
Yeah.
You have many days. The day you feel worse, you mark it.
Yeah.
When you have 20, 30 days, you check the days you mark it, what things are there, and you start to eliminate. And you say, okay, the days I'm having black beans, I'm not feeling good. I will remove the black beans. And if suddenly that works, we know the trigger, because we cannot diagnose everything. We don't know everything. No, if you come to me and you tell me, when I don't eat bread, I feel better, I cannot say, no, this is not in the books, this doesn't work. No, it's working for you. You feel better, do it. No?
Well, there's a part of me is like, well, I believe in the bachelorette diet of bread and cheese. It makes me feel great, but internally, it makes me feel bad. There's a reaction to it, and there's some alternatives in a sense. Whereas when it comes to bread, maybe I'll go to sourdough, and it has a lot less gluten. But
in Spanish, bread is 3 times a day.
Right.
So
it's a staple.
We have also to be realistic, no?
Yeah.
When you tell a patient to do changes, the changes has to be sustainable in the long term, because some people can avoid eating something 3 months and then they come back. So let's make a plan. Let's reduce until we find there are no poisons, there are doses. We find a dose of that food that doesn't bother you. No?
Agree with that, yeah.
But has to be a contact, frequent contact, no, with your doctor, when you make the plan until you find the solution. No? Sometimes the solution is not in the books.
And it's not going to be overnight either. It's going to take a little bit of time. Consistency.
Unfortunately not.
But you need to be consistent about your health.
But you need to think in a plan that in a year you are still doing it.
Yes.
Because if not, it's wasting time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So when it comes to access to screening and treatment, is there any challenges that you think exist in the Cayman Islands regarding services to colon cancer screening and treatment, and if we can overcome any of these barriers?
I would love the government to say that they'll offer screening one-off and pay for it for everyone for appropriate age. That would prevent colon cancer. I mean, obviously you have to calculate on the cost. I mean, treating colon cancer, the human cost, the financial cost, it's substantial. So versus doing it screening for everyone of appropriate age. I mean, you can obviously, if we have better public health data, we can obviously work out the finance side. But to me, that would be the sure way of reducing the number dramatically. Whether we have the financial or political will to do that, that's a separate question.
Okay. Is there any lasting thoughts you'd like to leave with our listeners this morning when it comes to health in general, integral health care, colon cancer, GI?
So I would like to talk, we have been, and I know cancer, like Dr. Solomon said, is a terrible war. No?
Yeah.
But the first cause of death in the first world is cardiovascular disease.
Yes. In Cayman as well, yes.
In Cayman as well. Cayman has a problem with hypertension and with another big cause of death that is diabetes. So in order is cardiovascular disease, cancer, respiratory disease coming down through quitting smoking, and diabetes. In Cayman, diabetes, hypertension. Hypertension is what kills more men in the first world, more than anything, no? And it's a silent killer. The only way to know is to check it, because you don't feel it. So visit your primary care physician, have a good chat every year, no? In a wellness visit, where you can plan what you need that year based in your age, your sex, and your symptoms. And from there, we decide, no? And every time you notice something abnormal in your body, ask the professional.
Yeah, don't ignore it. Ask, absolutely. Speak up for yourself, advocate for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dr. Solomon or Dr. Choy, any lasting thoughts you want to leave with our listeners?
I think that's an excellent thought to end with. If you feel like something's wrong, definitely seek medical advice. Think about the routine examination, annual examinations. I know that's something that has been popularized more recently, so that's an improvement in healthcare in the Cayman Islands. And then don't be afraid to have conversations. Health is something that you have to have. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. as you mentioned, your brother is 7 years older than you, facing colon cancer. I'm sure he's probably kicking himself and has a lot of guilt associated with the fact that there was a history of colon cancer and it wasn't picked up because, as Dr. Choy has alluded to, it is preventable. And so an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure when it comes to colon cancer. That's my take-home message for this.
Absolutely agree with
echo
you.
that completely. I think the healthcare costs escalate each year, but we are treating the disease and prevention. If we can actually spend more resources to prevent these diseases happening, that's the sure way of improving the current situation.
Don't hide from the disease. She will find you.
Oh, absolutely.
It's impossible to hide. So remember that.
Agreed. And that's why I wanted to have this discussion, because it's a preventative discussion for me. It's an experience I went through that, again, I do not mind sharing. And often when we hear these stories from other people, we feel a little bit more compelled either to seek out ways to improve our own health, to get checked up on our own. I've had friends say, you know what, I'm going to go in and get tested for this, or speak to my doctor about whatever, or go to a mental health professional about something because you had this discussion. And that's the smallest thing that I could do to help inspire people to take better care of themselves, and to have experts like doctors like yourselves in here to share your information. It's critical for us to all move forward to a healthier, better society. So thank you so much for joining us this morning on The Buzz. I appreciate having you here. I'm sure you have patients to get to, and I'm keeping you away from your other work.
Thank you for inviting us.
Okay, no problem. Looking forward to having you again. We got to go to probably a very late commercial break on The Buzz here, and then I'll wrap up the show.
Hey, Cayman parents, we get it. You're underslept, over-trafficked. You can barely find your sanity in the morning because you're still trying to find your kids' shoes and lunch boxes. Let Yum take some of the stress away. Every day, over 3,000 students enjoy delicious, nutritious meals from Yum. Over 5 million lunches served and counting. Private school parents? Browse the Yum Cayman app and order up to a month in advance or last minute by 12 a.m. the night before. Government school students? Just drop by the Yum canteen. No pre-orders needed. Yum can't help you find your sanity, but we can sure make your mornings just a bit easier. Check out daily menus at myschoolpos.com or visit yumcayman.ky to learn more.
The 7 a.m. Sports Report, brought to you by Dr. Wayne Porter, offering a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today.
And now a paid political message from the Progressives.
Hi, this is Delmira Bodden, PPM candidate for East End. Please join me at Miss Lucille Rankin's yard on Wednesday, April 2nd at 7:30 p.m. Come out and hear the issues that matter to you. The solutions we are ready to deliver. Cayman needs proven, stable leadership. That's exactly what PPM is about. Let's keep moving forward with the PPM.
We're moving forward, baby. We're moving forward.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller. I want to say a big, huge thank you to Doctors Hospital and Integra Healthcare for the doctors that did join me this morning, Dr. Solomon, Dr. Choy, and Dr. Martinez. We had a great discussion. We focused a little bit there on colon cancer, which is near and dear to my heart because of the family history of that I have. So, and my experience with getting screened last year. So, as I said earlier, the best thing you can do is take your preventative steps, your preventative measures, get screened. As Dr. Martinez said, go every year to do your annual health checks, your wellness checks. Any symptoms that you're feeling on anything, it doesn't hurt to go see a doctor. And unfortunately, I've known too many people that have waited way too long and thought, especially with some men, men, we don't do this. We don't go to talk to the doctor about it. We're going to thug it out. We're going to be okay. And they've lost their lives within a relatively short period. So we don't want that. We know that we're family members. We have loved ones. Some of us are mothers, brothers, sisters, fathers, husbands, wives, cousins, co-workers. We need each other here. So whatever you can do to take preventative steps to a healthy and long-lasting life, please do so. The power is very much in your hands. And have these conversations. Don't be afraid to talk to people about what's going on, what you're feeling. I want to read one of the comments that had come in a little earlier before we started that segment. And it says, good morning to Miss Susan and especially to Miss Kathy. Happy 1-year anniversary on the buzz. All candidates are on guard and the caveat and warning is out there of decadence electorates of participating their democratic rights. Kathy, you're 4 years older than me. How you know my age? Kathy, you're 4 years older than me, and I do love your chemistry. It resonates well, and you're next to perfect. That is coming from Rambo, Fabian, a.k.a. Rambo. Rambo, I know you're one of the biggest fans here on Radio K-Man for me, so thank you very much. You're always full of kind words and support, and I really appreciate it. A reminder that hosting Talk Today this afternoon is going to be OC. He is on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and now joining us Mondays and Wednesdays. If you didn't hear him yesterday and you didn't hear me say it earlier, we have that very familiar voice of Charles Glidden, Chalo, as people know him as. His daughter Chanda is one of my friends as well, Chanda Glidden, and it's just great to have him back on Radio K-Man, so he'll be back with us tomorrow. And we have our debates happening again tomorrow, and that's going to be with Red Bay and Prospect. Then we're going to have Monday again. We're taking a break. Next Wednesday, we're taking a break because the Chamber Forum will be having a party leader debate, and we think that, boom, everybody should absolutely be tuning into that one. So we're going to be wrapping up in the BRAC with our debates. That's going to be, I think it's the 16th, Wednesday the 16th. So that's going to be a pretty hot one right there. I know that much. So thank you for everybody for joining in on our debates, for listening to Radio K-Man as we try to bring you all the latest news, information, entertainment, and everything as it pertains to the elections. I hope you have a beautiful Tuesday and an amazing, blessed, productive work week.
The Buzz is proudly sponsored by K-Man Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And by Yum. Daily school lunch menus are available to browse on the Yum website.